Hello there. My name is Gilbert Velasquez, and welcome to our little podcast adventure. Rebecca approached me explaining her idea for the show, and I gave her my support. She said we could discuss things like music and everything that applies to it, okay? I have the resources to do this, and I support whatever we can do here to kind of further the genre, okay? But I did want to say that the opinions and views and comments said on this show do not have anything to do with my, whatever it is I represent. This is what you would call a disclaimer, okay? So I look forward to the show and everything that goes with it, and just keep that in mind. People are free to say whatever they want here. Doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what I think or say. And let's see where this goes. So there.
So here we are once again. Thank you for coming back to Gibby's Roundtable. We have an illustrious panel today. Of course, everybody knows Shelly Lares. She needs no introduction. She's Tejano music veteran. Been putting her feet to the grind. I guess is that a term? That's not a term. I just made it up right now. She's one of the hardest working women in Tejano industry today, and she is going to be retiring this year.
Yeah. Well, next year, technically, after 2022.
Yeah, so all this year to promote the latest album that just got released.
And next year.
And then she'll just be doing duets with everybody. So thank you for joining us, Shelly Lares. We have Genyva is here. I've met Genyva when she was we were both very young. We're like the same age, right?
Yeah,
we're 25. I'm just kidding. We've been 25 for the past 15 years. Yes. And you recently did what was unthinkable. First of all, was to bring 25 women in La Onda Tejana together to do a recording, and you were able to accomplish that. And I'm still like shooketh of how you even did it. And so we have a lot of great things to look forward to for Miss Genyva. So welcome, Miss Genyva. We also have Mayra, who's been a promoter for some of the people here today, actually, and she helps bring our music to the masses, and she has a wonderful insight on what the people want, because she gets feedback from them through like internet posts and talking to DJs and whatnot. So there's a lot of things that she knows that we just don't. So I'm very interested in what you have to say today. I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions today. These other people, I don't care. I just want to. I'm just gonna and of course, Adrian Solis is here with us, representing the fellas and some of the newer artists, and looking good. He's got it all polished. The head.
I combed my hair today.
Yeah. It looks like Lethal Weapon over here, and so we've got a great panel with us, and we're going to go ahead and mention the topics. One of the topics is, of course, marketing, which I think everybody here is doing a really great job of, which is why I wanted to have you here, because I want to know what you guys are doing that maybe some of these other acts, they just don't know. I feel like it's like a glacier. There's only so much that we see on the surface, and there's 1,000 other things underneath that we're not seeing, of things that we need to get done. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about, I'm sorry because I'm sort of changing the subjects, is how do we reach the younger audience? So those are the two subjects that we're going to talk about today. So I want to start with Mayra.
Go for it, Mayra.
What do you see being at one point just being a Tejano music fan and then getting into the marketing aspect? What do you think the difference is between how things were marketed back then, like in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and how they're marketed today? Like, what's the difference?
Back then, artists were very much involved into going to radio and knocking on program directors' doors by themselves. They never depended on anybody else to do it for them. And nowadays, young talent that's coming in, they look for a promoter to push their music, and they think that because they have the promoter, they're going to do everything for them, and they slack off.
They don't do their part.
They don't do their part, and they need to go knock on radio stations' doors, get recognized, meet your DJs, meet your program directors, because it's not all about the promoter doing it for you.
Now, having said that, I know that you guys, Genyva and Adrian Solis currently, and yourself doing it on your own, y'all are doing like radio promo tours.
Yeah.
Is that a service that you provide regularly, or is that are we like friends? Can I be your friend? Are we friends? Is that something that comes with the job description of what you do today? Is to take people on these radio promo tours?
Yes, it's a part of my job description to take on my artist to meet their program directors and the DJs that are strongly supporting them. And the ones that are not supporting them, I think that it's very important that they get to know the program director and the program gets to know the artist. I think they have to meet like face to face, have communication with them in order to get to know that person. And like me, I like to be in the studio when my artist is recording, any of my artists is recording, because this is how I'm going to promote them to radio stations, you know, and I really would love for the program director or any DJ to hear their side of the story when they're in the recording studio, or what the song is about, or, you know, the session or anything like that.
To give them that insight. Like, this
Yeah.
is what the person's putting their blood, sweat, and tears into it, and you just look at it, and then you say,
Exactly.
maybe I don't play this. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. So it probably plays a big role just to have a personal relationship with
Yes.
these guys. So that's interesting. I mean, not that it's, I mean, yes, it seems like it would be a given, but there's a lot of artists out there who just aren't getting in the car and doing that.
Exactly.
Because nobody's telling them. But Shelly, you've been doing it,
I've
and
been
you
doing
post
it since
about
day
it.
one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
follow you on social media like that, as if that's what's to do. What is she
Yeah.
doing? And I don't want to like mimic you 100% because it'll be like Rebecca's doing everything.
No,
I'm doing like a
I'm
little
not gonna
puppy.
be mad at you.
But
I
like a
mean,
little puppy, I am following
That's what we should be doing, is setting the example, lead by example. Yeah, I've been doing it since day one. You know, since I was with Manny Guerra, my first album, Tu Solo Tu, we had A&R. You know, that was a given where you would get the albums ready, the singles ready. Of course, back then it was mail out. You would actually physically mail it out. Now you email it or take it in person. You know, well, usually email it first so that they
Yes.
can get familiar with the song, get it going. Then you go promote it.
Yeah, they still don't listen to it until you get there.
Exactly. So, you know, but it's pretty awesome, you know, the way Mayra does. You know, I work with Rosie. She sometimes, she promotes to certain stations, sends it, distributes it. And I do other stations myself personally. There's not a particular reason why I do that. I still like to maintain the relationships with certain people.
But it's beneficial.
And
if you
another
follow
important
up.
thing is that we don't send to everybody, okay? And the reason that I don't send to everyone is because whoever I feel is not of a certain standard to play the music should not receive the music. I think if you want to be of a standard of an FM station or an internet station that is reporting, doing things legitimate, then that forces this station down here to pick up the standard to receive the music.
How do you find out if they're legitimate?
It's easy
or
to
not?
find out. It's easy to
I
find
don't
out. There's
know.
certain ways that we can probably share later where they can go check, you know, are they reporting, are they licensing?
We'll
And-
probably put some links.
yeah,
down
that's
below
a
in the
whole other
comments.
issue too. But as far as promotion, yeah, you know, that's one of the things I'm encouraging to the new artists. You know, one of the things Rosie does, she doesn't necessarily go with me like Mayra does, but that's how Mayra does her business, you know, which I think is awesome. But some don't, because I am my own PR person, you know, I'm my own label, so I represent myself. But I do tell the new artists, it's super important for you to show face.
Yes.
It's an expense. Yes. Okay. You have to pay for gas. You're going to stay overnight. You got to think about all these things, and that's a whole other thing. that we talk about. And that starts from starting your career as a business, okay? That way you know where to filter your monies to at certain times.
Would you say that if starting out as a new artist and you know that your product is really great, or at least we think our product is great,
It should be great.
Should you make those categories? Like, this is my A&R, I'm gonna do my A&R business today. This is my PR, I'm gonna do my PR business today. This is the recording aspect. This is my budgeting aspect. Just break it all up and write
all
stuff
different,
down.
You got to sit down, I think, when you're starting out and say, these are all of the elements that go into my career, okay? Which are many. And then you're not even including live shows, okay? You got a band to pay. So there's all these different things that you should do. So that's definitely at the top of the list, is promoting yourself, getting out there. Right now, one of the benefits that we have now that we did not have then is social media, okay? That is free freaking promotion. So why not use it in a positive way? Social media is not meant, or should not be meant as an artist, for an artist, to talk crap, to bring each other down, to post any kind of why are you going to shoot yourself in the foot when you have something so powerful as internet and
So what you're saying is to treat your social media as another arm of your career, as opposed to just treating it the way other people treat it, as an outlet for my opinions.
Nobody cares. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care about your personal, I care about your happiness. If you're sharing positive stuff, absolutely. If it's contributing to happiness or positive things in your life, yes. Anything negative, it's just not going to help you. It's not beneficial to you. You're wasting your time.
I noticed that every post that you put out there is like, go get the day, and we're going to do this, and I got this accomplished today.
Today was super important. My Motivational Monday was about change, and that's why we're here. Mm-hmm. Change is a necessity. Change is good.
But that really is the question. Is there something that needs to
There's a lot that needs to
we
change.
need to do that needs to change, or is it like just everything changed on us and we need to adjust accordingly?
We stayed behind is what happened. Mm-hmm. We stayed behind. We stayed in the 90s mentality. That's what happened. And that's where we got to change it. It's not going to happen overnight, but this is our time right now. This is the momentum that we need to take advantage of right now. So, again, back to promotion. It's super important how you promote yourself, and social media is a big part of your promoting yourself. Mm-hmm. If you're going to be in charge, if you think you have to soul search as an artist, and I'm speaking not only to the new artists, I'm talking to the veteran artists as well. If you think you don't have self-control when it comes to handling your social media, then give it to somebody who does. Mm-hmm. Okay? Give it to someone who knows how to promote and do things in a positive light. And, it's super important. I think Mayra and I, we have that old school mentality when it comes to promoting, which is beneficial because it is helping for you to get there to know the market. And there's only two ways you get to know the market, y'all. That's going to the stations, seeing where you're going, because every city is different. Yes. Not every city is the same. So, and then two, the other way you find out is once you start touring. Those are the two ways you find out.
You see their faces.
The nitty-gritty of how things operate as an industry. You don't get it by just being behind your phone and sending out music. You don't. It's going to be getting out there and actually experiencing these things. And that's part of the job. That's the nature of the beast.
Yeah. Genyva, I know that you've been on the grind for a while. Like, as I said, I think I met you at Graham Central Station, like when it was still a thing.
Oh, dang!
Yeah. That's how I remember meeting Genyva for the first time, and even back then, I thought to myself, look, there's new people coming in, and that's wonderful to see new people coming in. That's why I get irritated when people are like, Tejano's dead. I'm like, if it was dead, we wouldn't have any new artists. Mm-hmm. There wouldn't be any. There wouldn't be these kids out there playing accordion and like just ripping it up. Awesome, because they're being influenced by us. Somehow we're reaching them. Mm-hmm. I don't know how, but somehow we're reaching them. But what has changed for you from back in the Graham Central Station days when we could like fill out that entire nightclub to at one point there was like 15, 20 people in there, and then the club was gone. Like, what do you think the difference was?
I mean, honestly, with me, I never got to experience it full force because, I mean, if you go back and listen to the trials and tribulations of things I've gone through in life, every time that my career got going and I had a #1 song on radio, things were going good, something bad happened, So I never got to do the go on tour.
Not yet.
Not yet. Look, I believe that God's timing is perfect.
That's right.
And honestly, during the time when I was pursuing my career in Tejano, a lot of the artists were really busy, so I didn't have anybody to really like mentor me and guide me, And then thank God I ended up, meeting Mayra, and so we started, just kind of working it little by little. But I really don't focus too much on the past because I end up, I don't want to be stuck there. I lo intenté varias veces. I tried it several times. We come to realize now, and we realize it on this radio tour, that a lot of times, because as we're sitting there with some of the PDs, some of the DJs, they're playing my music as we're doing the interviews, and they're like, "Wow, this music's good,"
As if they've never heard it before.
As if they never heard it before.
Absolutely.
You heard it some.
And then a couple of the times, we're like, "No, well, how come you didn't send us this?" "Oh, yes, we did."
Yep.
And so Mayra backs up everything,
Good.
all her work, because she's got
do it,
emails,
Mayra.
And a couple of the times, they pulled up my name and the name of the song, and it was still in black, which means that the email wasn't even read,
Or expires if they don't download the file.
And so a lot of them came to, the realization that they're missing out on a lot of really good music and a lot of really good artists that are even changing genres because they don't feel like they're giving them the opportunity that they deserve.
So what you're saying is the DJs themselves also have to put in the effort to get to know the artists themselves.
Yes,
That they're just not even bothered.
And now that they've gotten
Right.
to know me, they're like, "Man, you're cool. You have, like we like to put. I like to put quality. A lot of artists don't have the contacts, or just might not, are barely, they're new and they don't pay a lot of attention to the production or to the,
Artist development is super important.
Yes, and
before you even record anything.
Yes, and so with time, we're learning, we're evolving, and so I feel that now is our time, and I don't want to focus so much on the past. I just want to be
Right.
able to evolve, and like I say, I'm a Tejana at heart, but I also want to explore other genres, because that is opening the doors
To a newer audience.
to a newer audience.
Yep.
And not only, but it's also just the fact that we're mentioning that that we're Tejanas, that's putting that name out there, because right now, like I'm looking into the reports for CD Baby, for iTunes, and we're finding that my song is being heard in other countries where normally, Tejano music isn't played.
You wouldn't expect.
Yeah, and so I just want to be able to just venture out to not only mariachi, banda. I love everything, and I don't wanna be labeled as just one. I'm a Tejano artist, and I want to be able to just sing music to bring joy to the world through music.
Nice.
And
Adrian, I haven't heard from you yet. I'm sorry. We're women, so we talk a lot. No.
Hey, I'm just, I'm listening.
Just
I'm
bask
absorbing
in our
everything.
beauty and just sit there and listen. I'm just kidding. Is it different from a man's perspective? Do you have to, because I feel like the women, not only do we have to show up to all these things, we gotta, Gucci sister over here.
I
is
know.
looking all good.
You know
She looked good and fierce and
Yeah.
how freaking fabulous
Thank
her
you.
hair was before she sat down. And there's I feel like you guys are lucky because you can just show up in a jeans and t-shirt and y'all are the boys, because most of these DJs are, they're not all dudes. So there's a lot of women out there. I
There's a
think.
lot of women,
There's
yeah.
a lot of women out there, but even then, is there something that you think that you guys can do more of that maybe we girls don't get to do?
Well, I think that, first off, I'm not nowhere near as experienced as these ladies, right?
Don't cut yourself
But
short.
no, I'm not. And truth be told is that I'm learning as I go. But so far, I think that Yeah, I think men need to be more, see, because back in the day when I mean, as you know, when I was a kid and all that stuff, I'd listen to all the Tejano artists and all these, like, you know, all these great artists, right? And legends. But speaking on behalf of the male artists, I think that they could have collaborated a lot more with women, you know, and
Absolutely.
I think that, and the thing is this, that you see, it was overpowered. Mel did overpower the industry.
genre.
Yeah, the genre. And I see it completely different. Not only that, I think that we need to evolve because today's youth is demanding it. You know, it's been, Tejano slowed down completely when it was massive at once. You know, when Selena was here, Shelly, she's still here, gracias a Dios, and she's amazing, you know. And so it was strong, it was big, it was huge, and everybody that was younger, that was their dream. I want to be that, you know. I want to be that Tejano artist.
I will be like Shelly.
Yes, I want to be like Shelly. I want to be like Joe Lopez. I want to, you know, I just went to go see one of my idols, Joe Lopez. My God, I was so excited. But so what I'm trying to tell you is that we need to evolve. I believe that we need to evolve because today's youth is demanding it. And what I want to point out is a lot of people want to change genres, or not so much change it, but maybe, okay, I want to record, but I want to record that style. Instead of saying, you know what, let me invite this guy, let me invite Sebastian Yatra. I'm a legend. Shelly's a legend. Not me. I'm
Talking as if
figuratively
you're,
speaking.
yeah.
But, you know, she probably has the power, more than likely, to be able to at least try and communicate with that person and say, hey, let's work something out, but Tejano. You know what I mean?
You're right.
That's what I'm
You
thinking.
hit a really, really strong point. Yesterday, I met with Dr. Matthew Knowles, who's Beyonce's father. I reached out to him because I'm trying to get mainstream ideas for us, suggestions and stuff. And that's one powerful thing that he mentioned is collaboration
Yeah.
with people in other genres that do have the audience. And by inviting them,
You're
opening the door to Tejano music
And to
to
people
them.
that have never heard
Absolutely,
it,
absolutely.
you know?
So that's a very good point. You hit it. And another point is on what you were saying back when you were younger and you were listening to what we were doing. What made us so great then and why we were so successful is because we did things on a high quality standard. That's why. All of our recordings, all of our arrangements, all of our song selections, all of our producers, everything was top notch. We didn't settle for, I'm not trying to dog anyone that records at home. If you know what you're doing, you can make it happen. But you have to have an engineer that knows what he or she is doing, okay? So that's why, internet came. I thought, this is it, guys. We are going to rule the world when internet came along. Because I was like, this is what we needed. Because when I would go play in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or anything like that, they only had Tejano maybe 2 hours a Sunday. And this way I was like, internet's here. All they got to do is get on their computer and boom, they have Tejano music 24/7, right? But here's what happened there. They were opening up stations, or continue to still open up stations, because they don't like the structure or the format of an FM and a higher internet station. It's basically saying, look, they're not going to tell us what to play. We're going to play whatever we want to play. And sometimes that's not good, because you can't play crap.
If you play crap,
you can't
people
play
will
crap.
stop listening to it.
You cannot. That brings down the standard of who we are and who we should be and who we are capable of being.
But I feel like it got to the point where people were expecting crap. There
you know
was
what?
so much
You know
that
what
they
I
were
think?
like, wow.
You know what I think? I think that a lot of it has to do, also, a lot of it, as to one of the main problems that I see is that the professionalism as far as promoting yourself, and then the people that promote you, like when you have awards, you have all of this stuff, right? It didn't seem elegant anymore. It didn't seem.
You're right.
Like, what are we working
man,
towards
this is-
if
Yeah,
we
and
can't
we all
feel
represent
appreciated?
each other.
Yes.
We really do. Like Myra represents you. You represent Myra.
Yes.
It's
Symbiotic
extremely important,
relationship.
y'all. It's
And what I
extremely
think,
important.
Shelly, what I think is that we need to all unite and
Yeah,
start thinking that way.
absolutely.
When you perform, you've brought it up before. I've heard this from you on one of your interviews, that when you perform, you get off stage and you go drinking with the crowd. You don't, you make yourself accessible to the crowd. Every time you go, they're not going to want to see you anymore because
Yeah.
they feel like they know you.
That has been, our blessing and our curse in Tejano is that we're so personable. We're so accessible. And that happens, it hurts us because the artistry goes away. It's like, it's not that we're trying to be like, oh, we're good, we're too good for y'all. That's not what it is. It's just it's almost like an illusion of, the artist, the excitement, the anticipation of not seeing that artist until they're on that stage.
You leave them wanting to
and
come
and
back.
I mean, guys, people in mainstream, they get paid to take pictures and meet an audience after the show.
Yeah, we don't
That's
get that.
called the VIP. And you pay $1,500 to $2,000 just to go after you pay for the concert.
All
See?
you have to do for us is buy us a beer.
All you got to and he's right though. You shouldn't be drinking with the crowd. You shouldn't be doing because it's not professional.
Yeah.
I don't drink at all, hardly ever anyway. But I don't do that when I'm performing. I'm there to do a job. I'm there to work. I got to be able to be on top of my game to represent myself in a certain way. So it's professionalism. It's super important with how you carry yourself, not only on stage but off stage.
Now there's a nonprofit school here in San Antonio called the Network for Young Artists that provides really incredibly, ridiculously affordable. I'm talking like $15 a month for unlimited amounts of classes. You could take guitar, piano,
Wow.
drums, vocals. I taught performance and vocals, and I think I had reached out to you, Shelly, and Stephanie to see if y'all could come and give like a master class, because a few of my students have gone on to do bigger things. I don't remember their names, and they're going to get mad at me. I hope you're not watching. Oh, my God. Marissa Rose.
I think we're going to edit this part.
Anyways, yeah. But
Right.
these really hecka talented girls that maybe just... I noticed that they have this massive amount of talent, and they didn't know what to do with it. There wasn't anybody there to tell them, this is what you should do, this is what you should say on stage, this is how you need to be on stage, this is what you need to say, you are who you hang out with, so maybe don't hang out with these fools over here,
Yeah.
don't hang out with me. But would... Like I don't know if you were a part of the past program back in the 90s.
Yes, I was.
But that is the Network for Young
Yes.
Artists. It is like the current past program. It's done from the same people founded the Network for Young Artists. Is there something that we're missing that we're not connecting with today's youth as they're up and comers, as they're just discovering their musical feat? Is there something we can do?
I think our veterans, whether they're artists or producers or radio, they are not opening up to the new generation like I would like for them to.
Because there's musical camps.
We
It's
were
never for
all
Tejano.
there in that spot at one moment. I remember when I started Orquesta in '82, if I wasn't allowed to evolve, you wouldn't have had your Soy tu amors, Ganas de besarte. Those songs never would have happened if I would have been kept there and not, been allowed to evolve musically and directed and guided. I wouldn't have been here 40 years later. Gibby and I had this conversation. He may deny it. We were talking about this, and I'm going to tell him because he knows I'm honest. He was remembering when he was under Manny Guerra, who was my first producer. He was saying that Manny thought he was crazy for the stuff that he was bringing to the table for Latin Breed. But yet, this schmuck, whom I love very much and respect highly, said, our young kids don't know. And I said, guess what? You're Manny Guerra now.
You're
You
the
listen
new
to
Manny.
yourself. Listen to what you're saying. It is more beneficial to our youth and our new generation if we help with an open mind. Okay? We can't tell them they don't know what they're doing. As long as they're not singing out of key, okay, guys, please, if you're a new artist, don't be hurt if we tell you, look, you got to develop some vocals a little bit more. This is constructive criticism. This is what makes you grow. And sometimes, guess what? You're not meant to be an artist.
And don't expect to make it right out
Sometimes you can't. Sometimes, I'm not saying you can't. Can't is a bad word because, who am I to say people can't achieve certain things? But I'm going to give you my professional opinion, which is what everyone should get in some way from different areas. Get it from someone who knows. That's why I'm telling Gibby he can continue to be such a huge asset and advocate for the next generation by just sharing some of the knowledge, but with an open mind.
Well, that's why we're all here today.
And
Gibby's
that's
Roundtable.
Yes, and
Thank
that's why we love
Gibby.
you for having
That's why
Gibby.
we love you, Gibby.
We just wanted an opportunity. That's it.
Yes.
That we just want an opportunity.
Right.
I mean, like I listened to my last album, Mujer de Palabra, and not because I sing on it, but I think that every song is good. But if if they don't give us an opportunity, if they don't play our music, who's gonna be left?
Yeah.
Who's
You're
gonna
so
be
right,
left?
Genyva.
I've been trying to do this since I was signed with Discos Joey in 2008, and we're 2020 now, right? This new song that I did called Como Te Atreves, I knew that I was gonna have some people that were gonna be like, well, it's not Tejano, but I'm a Tejano artist, and I wanted to take. If you listen to the song, and you remember and you think back to like 1994, 95, 96. All that was on the radio was ballads. No Estás Tocando Fuego, Boulevard de Sueños, which is other, Porque Dios Mío.
Yeah.
So why were those male artists given a chance? But now that Genyva comes out in 2020 with Como Te Atreves, thank God, we were on the charts for a few weeks. It's a blessing that we were given that opportunity, but we can go beyond, we can go beyond that, to other countries, with this kind of music.
Internationally,
and we were recognized by Radio Notas. I mean, this is an international, program. I guess I call it program because, they don't only, monitor radio and, they.
But what you're saying is you
But
got
isn't it a
recognized
shame-
internationally and not as much
isn't it a
recognized.
shame that, not a shame, not in your case, for you it's beneficial, but
Yeah.
I'm saying as our industry.
Yeah.
For a song, for someone else to take notice and they don't hear. I'm so glad you talked about this slow song because I will tell you, I do masterclass every day, okay? I get people asking me questions on a daily.
Yeah.
Just
call her.
Yeah, you just call me, you text me. I mean, I'm going to tell you. There was a station that has been around for a long time, FM, brought it to my attention and said, hey, Shelly, I think one of your girls, she did a ballad. I'm like, are you talking about Monica? Monica Saldivar? Yeah. I was like, yeah, she did. I love it. It's amazing.
I was like,
It's an amazing song.
Yes.
But she's a new artist. How is she recording a ballad? I said, then I guess you forgot about a little unknown name girl named Ellie de Reina when she came out with Luna Llena. I said, you cannot, and that's another thing that personal preference doesn't always work as a program director, okay? It doesn't. And I told this station, look, give it a chance. Let the audience decide. Play her for a month.
Amen. Yes.
Play her for a month, and if it doesn't do well in a month, okay. But why are you going to shoot it down before you even play it? And their response to me was, okay, I'll do it for you. Don't do it for me.
Don't do it for me.
Don't
Yeah,
do it for me.
just do it because you
for
should be
Monica
doing it.
because it's a badass song.
See, and that's
and
why
she deserves that.
Yeah.
That's why there are certain people that shouldn't be there. They shouldn't have that power because that's you're killing it. You're killing the industry. You're stopping it from being successful because you've got all these young artists that are amazing. I mean,
Because there is
amazing,
good
which-
music out there.
There is.
There is good
A
music.
lot of it.
Not all
They're
of it is
investing
crappy.
in good videos.
Yes, yes,
good
and being
productions.
shot down just like that. And you know what? I'm blessed. I am blessed to have Myra on my side.
Because Myra will
I-
fight for you.
Oh yes.
You know, Myra will fight for you. I know Myra personally, and she will. And that's what it takes sometimes.
And
And you
that's
know
one
what?
thing.
Go ahead.
Okay, that's one thing that I do want to elaborate. Well, no, I want to send this message to all the new artists that don't know what to do. Look for a promoter, a good promoter. There are people out there. Myra's one of them.
Like your uncle could be a good promoter,
others.
as long as they're willing to
There's
put the work
others.
in.
There's others
Yeah.
también, you know. And what I'm saying is, those that don't know, go. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to be shot down, because you know what? That person is missing out, but there's always someone else that's going to want you.
And with every failure, there's a lesson to be learned, and
Absolutely.
just make sure you
Yes.
learn
You learn
that
from it.
lesson.
And it's not always going to be great, man.
Yeah.
Myra, we can vouch for this, man. It's not always going to be great. Songs are not always going to work.
Yeah, my last 3 songs, all of them.
And one of the things that I'm sure Myra can
No.
agree with me
No, they won't.
is if we're promoting a song, please stick to that song we're promoting.
Exactly.
That's what makes it successful. That's what gets everybody on the same page. You know, and they still have that old school mentality where they want the full CD or the full EP, and they want to pick which song they want.
I've seen that.
And
I've seen
it
that
doesn't help
point of
us.
Preference.
It causes confusion, and it just doesn't help the promotion of the song, and it won't give the artist a chance to establish that song.
And Dave Biondi said that on the last panel. He said, "Don't come to me with your whole album and say, pick a song. Come to me with your single, and that's the song that I'm going to play, and I'm going to promote the heck out of that song. But don't ask me which song is great, because no 2 DJs are going to think the same song is great. You just tell them what to play, and you tell them to play it. And then call them every day and stalk them, you know. Yeah.
You know, and going
Don't
back
even
to
wanna-
radio, I think that this subject needs to be touched, and we need to talk about it. I deal with a lot of radio. I have been dealing with radio for almost 20 years, and back then, it wasn't so hard to get on rotation, you know. Now,
But you were taking good quality stuff too. So, yeah.
exactly. But now, even though you have good quality in your hands, recorded, produced, mixed, mastered by a professional, some PDs won't accept it. So my question is, why is it up to the program director to make the decision whether that song should get added on rotation or not? An artist, any artist, records for an audience, for their listeners.
But I think that's the key, is because it is such a symbiotic relationship, the radio can do so much. They're going to play your song, but the people who hear it have to request it. You have to reach out to your fans. You have to be talking to them
but
constantly.
they can't request it if they don't hear it.
Exactly.
But then
That's
again,
true.
okay,
Add it on.
but you
Yeah.
have the other side of the coin, where of course, you know, stations have to have structure, you know, in order to be successful. Everything has to have structure. Everything you do in life
Yes.
should be structured. So whether it's, you know, the station having you know, back in the day, they would sit in a room and they'd be like,
A
"What do y'all
committee.
think about this song?"
Yeah,
you know,
exactly, a
I mean,
committee.
a committee, you know,
Yes.
within the station, within the station.
Now there's just
to
one
see it,
guy.
yeah,
Yes.
right.
Which is
I
too
know,
much
with a
power.
committee
Too
within
much
the
power.
station, because that it was such a big power play, and Myra can tell you, you know, we used to get a lot of that power play crap, you know, back in the day. So, you know, I don't want that to continue, especially with the new artists, because, you know, most of them don't really know how to defend themselves or what to say, or don't even have a leg to stand on sometimes. You know, so that is extremely important. And I know that there's going to be a internet radio panel be coming up soon. So I'm going to let you know, Myra, because I think it was extremely important for you to be there for that. And then, but let me tell you why it's important. And this is the cycle of what makes our genre work. First, the labels, okay, or whoever's, you know, funding their own recording, personal, you know, independently represented. Gets with the artist. They, in turn, are getting their song selection, working to get good arrangements with good, you know, musicians, good producers. Then, when that is ready, you go on promotion, okay? You go to all of the stations, because what happens then, if the stations are supporting it, guess what? The fans are going to be calling, who is this? Who is this? And once they start asking for you, that means the venues that are in that city are going to want to hire you to play there, because you're getting played on the radio, which means that venue is going to pay for commercials, which makes the money for the radio stations to run the spots. That packs in the place, and that's where the fans come into play to support the artists live.
Because that's where our money is made.
Okay, that's how
don't
we make our
money
money.
off record sales at all.
And then the venue does well, the bands do well, and it starts all over again. That's our cycle of what the industry is. And until we figure out how to oil that machine, it's not going to run properly.
It starts here.
Yeah,
Shows like this.
absolutely. And we gotta do it. We can talk till we're blue in the face, but we have to start putting these things into action.
Now, as far as like obtaining sponsors and things like that, is there a company that does that, or you just got to go out and find your own
You
sponsors?
mean like endorsements?
Endorsements.
You
Like I
should
remember
be
you
looking
did
for
South Park
endorsements.
Mall, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's a whole day. I was so
Yeah.
excited to hear that commercial.
Yeah.
I was like, play it again, but it's not a song. You can't request a
I
commercial.
think every artist should later on, find some sort of endorsement.
Well, the thing about
Yeah.
it is that I don't think that it's gone down so much that ya no te ponen cuidado, even if you go to, yes, you'll get an endorsement, a small endorsement, but if you want something that's going to really, really benefit you, we have to all
With some
unite.
sort of endorsement or sponsorship is part of marketing.
Uh-huh.
That helps with your marketing as well. I was super yeah, absolutely. I was with Miller Lite. I was
in
with
the
Toca
old
Percussion.
days with those sponsorships, did the record label get you those sponsorships,
No,
or you had
we
to go
went
out
after
and
those.
do it yourself? Oh wow!
You can't depend on the label to do everything for you guys. That's not how it works either.
Exactly.
Okay, Mayra doesn't do everything for you either. It takes you as an artist. You got to put in the work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I noticed a lot of drummers getting like drum equipment
Even
sponsorships,
just
and I'm like,
sticks. I had Vader
badass,
sticks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure,
I
we're
had
here,
Ovation
sure.
guitars. I had Gibson guitars. And these all contributed to the marketing of
Dolca.
who I am.
Yeah.
Right now, my biggest thing for me is my merchandising. I've worked hard enough for the name Shelly Lares, Little Miss Dynamite, so I'm able to make really good money on my website. So all that's another part of marketing. I know we're going to touch on that, but it doesn't matter if it's small. It doesn't matter. Find something you like that speaks to you, that you like. I don't know.
Yeah.
Boxing?
Exactly.
boxing.
Even then, yeah, if you
That's
like
what I'm
boxing.
saying. Something like that. You got to go for it.
Like if an aspect of who you are will resonate with a niche audience, such as boxers or people that are into boxers, then you should definitely market to that.
And
audience.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
young kids that are boxers.
Start singing the national anthem, right?
Yes, and there's a lot of young kids who love boxing. They're going to be like, "Oh, Adrian, I want to, I like, and that's how you're going to contribute to introducing it to the young generation as well."
I did HBO boxing.
See?
After dark. I did the national anthem
Yeah.
for when De La Hoya came down. So that's exposure that you
Like
get,
Genyva
you
does, she does interior decorating. Like you're
You
talking,
do?
the sky's the limit there.
What don't you do?
With
Jack of all
major
trades.
stores.
How many businesses do
I'm a
you
jack of-
have?
I'm a jack
How many
of all
businesses?
trades,
do you
yeah.
have?
I'm just saying, there's so many things that she can do. Like she can try to get an endorsement from, and just seeing her face, and she knows what
Well,
she's talking about.
She's gifted at that stuff. though.
And she
Nobody
just
would
opened her
ever ask me to
construction
come and
company.
See what I
Yeah.
mean?
Homes.
Yeah.
man.
So
But
hello,
that was gonna be
Lowe's,
one
Home
of-
Depot. I mean,
That was going to be one of
You
my
spend a
questions.
lot of money
Hey, so
there.
Genyva, you want to be my sponsor?
Is-
I'm looking for sponsors.
no, that's what I'm saying. It's an endorsement, because it's a relationship.
And you're right. I shouldn't have said that. You're right. Anything helps.
Anything helps.
Yeah.
Nothing's
Yeah.
too small.
Yeah.
There's no stupid questions, and nothing is too small.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I have an issue with, and because I'm just an irritable human being, I'm just a horrible human being.
You're just my
I
ADD
go
girl.
to I go to restaurants like local Mexican restaurants, and they're playing like salsa merengue in the background. I'm like, why aren't you playing Tejano music? This is Tex-Mex food. Hello, it says Tex-Mex on the freaking sign outside. What are you doing playing salsa merengue? Like, I don't want to hear that music.
Well, it would
in
be
here.
awesome for us to get back on Sirius Satellite and all of those stations like we used to be.
Ooh, so
So-
that's the thing.
There's
but
a lot
it all
of things.
falls down to the same thing that the youth is demanding a change, and the change isn't happening. Or if it is, right? But it's
But
slowly.
It's
they don't
slowly
even
changing.
see the
Slowly
change
changing.
because they're not seeing anything from us. Because
No, they
everything
think of
that's-
us as, and let me tell you something we did talk about yesterday in the meeting. Mr. Knowles is a numbers man, okay? He's a numbers man. So not only were we still kind of educating him in what Tejano music is, because the only artist he knew was Selena, that was it. And that's
And
a
even
shame.
then, they say
That's a shame
Selena was a
because-
Mexican artist.
Because
I'm like,
there's
no, she
so many
wasn't.
of us, There's so many of us, and we're still here, and we've done, some of us have done stuff she didn't do, musically. Okay? So, we need to bring this to the table. But he wanted to see like the age group that was, buying Tejano music, and of course it's the older generation. Yeah. So he's like, okay, now we need to figure out what is a strategy that we can start getting the younger kids listening. And that's how we're going to grow, because I listened back in the 90s, we were young. We were freaking 17 years old.
Yeah.
And so we were playing proms. Everybody in high schools were listening to Tejano music, and it can get back to that.
We were doing past concerts.
I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
We can get somewhere we've never been, which is in other countries, like Genyva was talking about. They are downloading Tejano music in other countries. I have over 50 countries downloading my music.
She's the one that showed me how to find the reports.
I
had no
I need
idea.
to learn that.
Yes.
I'm going to pick through your brain.
Yeah.
Somebody downloaded my stuff in
I'm going to tell y'all
Reykjavik.
what I did, because I'm not one to excuse me, to learn something and not share knowledge. That's dumb.
Yeah.
That's dumb. You should learn and share it, okay? What I did was, back during COVID, I had my 96 Siempre Lo Esperaré dance version that I had just sitting there, and I think we never released it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to release it because I can, and I own it. So I put it up, but when you upload music digitally, it gives you a genre to pick, okay? Usually the pull down is Latin. Latin is so broad. It's it's something great to be part of, because we are Latinos, under the umbrella of Latinos. But what I did differently was I didn't put Latin, I put dance. And by putting dance, all of these countries opened up. And it's awesome, because that's what Genyva touched on. This is how we get people we get their attention. Because if they're looking at and they're listening to the dance channel, and they happen to hear it on Pandora, they're like, who's this Shelly Lares? Who is this? And then they in turn go to my music, which in turn turns them on. I had people reach out to me from France, from the Philippines. They were intrigued by Tejano music. They were freaking out on how we use the accordion. They were listening to Soy Tu Amor, and they heard the reggae bass line, and that's what caught their attention. But it's taking one little simple step outside of the norm, outside of what we're used to doing, the routine. And that's what it took. It was like
very well known in Japan.
Absolutely. We played there. The girls and I played in Japan, Korea, Guam.
There's a whole community of like lowrider, like
but they're Japanese. Yeah.
Japan.
We're going to Japan. We are going to go. So there's so
can
many
I go
things.
too?
Shelly, and that's because you released that song 25 years later.
25 years later.
Girl.
I released it as a cumbia. It was very successful for me. We did well. We got a BMI award for that song, which is a songwriter and a publisher. That's a huge accomplishment when you get a BMI award. That means, it did well in sales and stuff. So, but yeah, you're right. 25 years later, it didn't sound dated. So I was like, even if it did,
I was just gonna ask
even
that.
if it did, Mayra, shoot, what do you got to lose?
Exactly.
What have you got to lose, really, honestly?
Exactly.
And I didn't lose anything, because all of these other countries opened up. So we know that non-Spanish speaking countries are downloading Tejano.
That's another question. Should I know I didn't get a whole lot I got like slight flack for recording a Tejano song in English. But with having said that, that song was in my experience, my entire family finally heard a song that I did, and they listened to it and they downloaded it because they knew what the lyrics meant.
They knew
it was listenable for them. Whereas nothing else on my album was listenable because they don't speak Spanish. Like, why am I going to listen to it?
Mr. Knowles asked me that. He asked, "Are y'all doing them in English too?" And we're like, well, our Tejano culture, of course we do some songs in English, but he was meaning like the cumbias.
Like do
and
them.
the rancheras, and I was like, well, some people have like,
Or
because
do half and half?
yeah, like cowboy cumbia,
Yeah, the
or,
cowboy cumbia.
it's not like it hasn't been done before, but he was wondering why we don't incorporate a little more English too, not all the time, but also.
That's why we're like, Waymaker.
Yes,
I was
absolutely.
like, no, we got
She ain't dumb. She's like, she knows what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? Genyva is an intelligent girl. She gets it.
That's just a
Waymaker. Even if all they're gonna sing is Waymaker, Miracle Worker, I mean that's the goal of the song.
Absolutely.
And that is why I wanted to unite not only established artists like Miss Shelly and Patsy. I wanted to include artists that are on radio and then the future of the genre, like like Annika. Like
Oh, she's
Alyssa.
amazing.
Annika just released that
Oh, she's
English single,
amazing.
and I was
Yes.
like,
Released a
dang.
single
I
right now.
freaking
I
love
gotta
her.
listen.
And another thing that I wanted to talk about was because I haven't been doing any shows right now. I have the band preparing. We're gonna do a live 30-minute show concert so that they can see what Genyva y Adicción has to offer live.
Awesome.
Right? And one of the things that I wanted to talk about, being that we're gonna have this platform to be able to do it, is a lot of the festivals put new artists like me at 2:00 in the afternoon when there's nobody there.
When the cleaning crew is there
When
for the night
nobody's
before.
there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it stayed like that for years.
Yeah.
Why don't they allow for a new artist to open up for the headliner for the show?
Do we have
You
to
know what I
make
mean?
arrangements
I'm
with
so
the
glad-
headliners, though?
It's just like, I understand they've worked hard to get to the closing act, right?
But I know, like, at one point, Michael Salgado was like, I'm looking for an opening act, female, to feature on my show, and she'll open up for me. And I was like, hey, I've never heard. Is that like the thing? Every time I
you
learn
can't do that.
something new.
One of the things, like, my showcase in Vegas for the Tejano Music National Convention, it was maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. That was the whole reason why I started that with Sarah, the showcases, because I knew there's a lot of young, new talent out there. And I know that there's a lot of, Tejano fans that go to spend money, okay? They go to spend money. Keyword, they spend money. I think something's wrong with your camera.
Yeah,
anyway,
it
okay.
ran out of memory. It's
Okay.
done. But we have these two
okay.
right here. Keep
So
looking
anyway,
at that one.
so a few years later, because to do my showcase, it's promotion. You go, you promote yourself. We give you the booth. If you have merchandise, you have your music. That's where you take it. That's where you rub elbows with all of the other promoters in different cities, other stations, right? And so what I brought to the table was, can we give an incentive to the new bands that are doing my showcase? Meaning, okay, they're not getting paid to do the showcase. The Gran Baile is Friday and Saturday, and that's the paying gigs, right? That's the big show, if you will, the big show. So I'm like, whoever does well the year before, like gets the best response, who brings their A game, who kills it, will be in the Gran Baile.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing.
And that's what we've been doing the last few years. But I get what you're saying. I understand it. I think in a case where there's a big lineup, I'm pretty sure they're going to be like, no, or maybe in between bands, is something to try. Because you're right, most people don't get there that early.
Yeah.
But again, here we go. This is part of paying the dues. This is where it comes into, sometimes you got to play in the heat of the day and almost faint like Angelique did the other day.
Right.
Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you play when nobody's there.
Yeah.
But it would
I've
be
been doing it
nice.
since 2008, girl.
Yeah.
It's like,
It
how
would be
long do I got
nice,
to pay
though.
my dues already?
Yeah, it would be nice. I get it. You have been in the game for a long time, but touring for a while is really what makes you become a veteran.
We just need to perform more.
That's what you got to do.
We need to make
It's
friends
not
with
just
the
recording.
club
Myra
guys
can
just
tell
as
you.
much.
It's about getting out there, and I don't know. She'll probably agree with me on that.
I'm hoping to start by
It's about there,
September.
yeah.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
that would be a nice suggestion.
Yeah,
I know for me now, what I started at Fanfare was I wanted a new artist to open up for me before I headlined.
That's awesome. See, more artists that are veterans like yourself need to offer those opportunities.
Yeah,
You know what
I mean, yeah. And all we
Because-
got to do is suggest it.
It's
Yeah.
like
I mean,
a competition
But a lot
where
of
you
it
get
has to do
rewarded
also,
with
like-
show. Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry. I think that a lot of it has to do still with the fact that they don't play our music in the radio. The new artists,
Yeah.
as much as they should, I think. Because, pues, what happens, even if it's a song you don't like, right? but you don't like it, but you sing the hell out of it, right? Because they play the hell out of it, and that's the problem, that they're not playing as much as they should. These new artists that are coming in, so that people can start getting to know who these people are, and then want to go to fanfare because they know that artist is there.
Yeah.
You know, because at 2 PM, if my favorite artist is there, I want to go see him.
Yeah.
You know, and so it all boils down to that too.
I've seen people there
and the
at
thing with
2.
radio also is if you're a new artist and they add you on rotation, they don't keep you on rotation for a very long time. It's just for a little while the momentum is going on, maybe 6 weeks the most, and the program director demotes it.
And the
And
fans
don't forget,
should-
guys,
And they
don't
tell
forget
us.
that the squeaky wheel gets the oil, okay?
Yeah.
You got to make that noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to make yourself known. You got to make your presence known. Because I tell every artist, there's 2 things to remember in this industry. 1, just because you record music doesn't mean radio has to play you. And 2, you're not going to please everybody.
Not gonna please
Okay?
everybody.
So if you're okay with those 2 things and you understand them and you accept them, okay, but you got to make that noise.
In other words, get out
you
there,
know?
get out
yeah,
there, get
they're
out
gonna
there, get out there.
eventually they're gonna
And
get tired of
social
hearing.
media.
They're gonna get tired of hearing from Mayra. They're gonna get tired of hearing from you. They're gonna get tired of hearing from you. They're gonna get tired of hearing from Mayra, and they're gonna be like, well, who is this person that, tell your fan base.
Demand.
And they'll
Tell your fan base on your social media.
Yeah.
Please request me. If
So
you feel
there's-
I'm not being heard in your city, your town, please request me.
and they'll say that they call and that they tell them
Or
that
they don't
have that
answer.
song.
They tell me
Yeah,
they don't have
they
that
say
song.
they
Yeah,
don't
we don't have
have
that
it.
song.
They do that too.
Being
Yeah, you're
Jacob.
We don't have that song.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I think we got a lot in today, and we're pushed past a little bit past an hour. I know. We could stay here all
No thanks to
day.
me. I
yeah.
like to talk.
But I think this has been a very successful panel, and I appreciate every single one of y'all for coming out here and letting your
thank you
voices
for
be
having
heard
Thank
and
you.
giving us your insight. And it's just going to get bigger from here, and we will see you guys on the next go round. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you on the next Gibby's Roundtable. Thank you, Gibby
Yeah,
Velasquez.
Gibby.
Yeah, give it to you.
Thanks for coming out.
My schmuck.